This is Rogue Wing, Coraline, or Helen RD over at Starship Modeler. Welcome to the workshop. Alright, finally getting some more work done here. Start off with, I coated the interior of the cockpit with some dark gray to act as both a primer and base color coat. That's still got work to go on it. I have also gone in and done a lot of seam work with Abe's epoxy sculpt. Gonna have to trim up some of it, but as you can see, I've closed the seams on the upper engine pods. I've also trimmed off the ends so they're even with the sloping part, and again the seams down the sides of the engines. That is probably as far as it's going to get for the day, so now I got to let the Aves cure up, but we'll see how things go. Okay, just a little more of a quick update. Not a lot to go since the last one, but I've gone in and given the frames a base coat of the same dark gray I used on the cockpit. Got both the insides and the outsides, so I've got some paint on them before I get either putting windows in or go for actual paint. Also went in on the cockpit, give the whole thing a black wash, and then dry brushed it with a lighter gray to help bring out some of the detail. I'll still go in and pick out the seats and the consoles, but it's a little more progress. Coming along slowly, but at least it's coming along again. Okay, after multiple attempts to fill the cockpit windows with something I'd actually be able to see through, I'm giving up on that for a bit and turning my attentions elsewhere. Starting with 4 tiny little ladies. I don't know how well this thing's going to focus. N-scale figures don't hold a lot of detail anyway. But I've tried to give them the basics of bodysuits and some different hair colors just to make it so you could tell the ladies apart. That's the crew for the cockpit. The cockpit I've now finished detailing. I was thinking about putting decals over the control panels, but changed my mind. I've given the whole cockpit a matte coat and then gone back in and hit the control panels themselves with a coat of Future just to help gloss them up. I figure I'll probably be better off not trying to put glass in the windows, so you'll actually be able to see into the cockpit. Like I said, I've tried a few different ideas and none of them have panned out. So at this point, probably going to call that done and work on buttoning up the cockpit. I've also trimmed down the legs on the landing gear to get to the more proper height for what I'm going to have when I actually close up assembly. But we are very much nearing the point where I can close up the nose section and finally put the whole thing together. Okay, back to work. The ladies are now safely ensconced in the cockpit. Unlike with the Harlot's crew, none of the legs broke off, so we're in good shape there. I've got a batch of 5-minute epoxy being mixed up now. We'll put into place so I can glue the cockpit in, and then glue it into the fuselage. One of the reasons I'm using the 5-minute epoxy instead of a super glue is the epoxy can also act as a bit of a gap filler. Alright, got our cockpit and our upper fuselage. Alright, ladies are all nicely visible. Oh, you got to work really hard to see the ones in the back. Flip that over. Let her sit overnight. Alright, back to work. At this point I have glued the parts of the nose together. Got the nose piece on. Looks like I will have some seam filling to do, but I expected that. Crew's mostly visible, except toward the back, but I expected that. I've had to go in and hone this edge a little more to help it match up better to the rest of the main body. But next step is going to be putting this whole thing together. As you can tell, there's going to be a nasty freaking seam there. But that's why the good Lord gave us Abe's epoxy sculpt. I'll get to that after I've had a chance for the nose piece to glue together.